Every frame a photograph.
Every frame a photo.
Every frame.
Every dog a smile.
Every dog a smile. Every sunshine a cloud.
every song to song.
And this is Cinematographologically Speaking Podcast. Awesome. This week we're watching Terrence Malick, Song to Song, 2017. Wow. We don't have Brody here because Brody, well, I don't know if we should talk about it. Should we talk about it or? Brody's been
incapacitated.
Brody's hurt.
Brody's been
hurting
injured.
right now.
It's kind of a serious accident. It's not really clear what's going to happen next, but hopefully Brody can make a full recovery.
He's in good spirits and he's all smiles, though. I'll tell you what. But it is an insane tragedy. What happened?
It's kind of an insane tragedy. Luckily, only Brody was hurt.
Well, of course.
I mean, the other car was fine. You know,
well, most of the passengers in his were too.
Yeah, I don't know if we can talk about it until like the legal proceedings are over. I don't want to get Brody in trouble or something, but it's kind of a dynamic situation, and Brody, he might make it. Anyway,
yeah.
So this
and all for a concert.
Yeah, all for a drum and bass local show.
Yeah, local
drum and bass show.
Yeah,
drum and bass, more like. So
yeah.
We watched Song to Song. I guess we do opening thoughts, right? It's been a while since we did the last podcast. A little out of practice here. I moved again.
Wait, we introduce, don't we? Do we introduce, or is that just opening thoughts?
Introduce what?
Like us?
No.
Don't we like say the order of everyone?
No.
We did that on the very first.
Everyone knows
podcast.
who's here. Everyone knows who's who.
Oh, we just say
the
opening thoughts in order. We do the opening thoughts in the order.
Yeah. We do opening thoughts.
That's what it is.
So we'll do opening thoughts here. So I watched this movie, sadly, about 6 days ago, which is depressing. I wish it were more fresh, but I watched it. The absolute second I finished watching Babette's Feast. What a double feature. Absolutely incredible. Anyway, yeah, I really like this movie. I feel like it doesn't, in my mind, it gets categorized as a sort of a certain type of film that isn't quite of the highest order, but I found it to be extremely good. Very personally relatable and strongly felt. I really liked it a lot. Yeah. Steven?
Oh. I'll tell you what. I watched this movie 10 minutes ago. I finished this movie or something like that. This movie was super, super good. Maybe probably my favorite Malick movie. I mean, it was so good. Especially, there was like a 30 minutes in. So the first 30 minutes, I'm like so engaged. I'm so excited. I'm excited to say that this is an awesome movie. This is going so well. And then like I just moved the cursor to see how much longer was left, and it was like an hour and a half, and I was like, so epic. Like I was like super excited.
Yeah. That was always, dude. I kind of had a very similar thing happen. I love when that happens, when you're watching a movie and it's so good, and then you go to see how long it is, and it's so much longer than you thought it was.
I don't relate to this.
Yeah, because it's just the classic Malick feeling is like, dang, so much has happened. This it's so it kind of like changes how you perceive time. Usually in a Malick movie, it's like it's only been 30 minutes. This feels like so much, because there's so many hard cuts, so many different settings, so many things going on. The pacing is always so weird. Of course, like not like plot wise, there isn't necessarily much going on or like an insanely complex plot, but just so many locations and so many different shots that it just totally, this happens like every time I watch a Malick movie. I fucking feel like, wait, I still have an hour and a half left. Like I don't know.
Except when it's Days of Heaven, you're like, oh my god,
I've got an hour and a half left. Yeah, no, I actually like Days of Heaven. Right?
We liked it, but I didn't think anyone loved it.
It wasn't God tier, but it was good.
I liked it, but I didn't. Yeah, no, I liked it too. I don't know when the next time I'm gonna watch it is.
Baby's first movie.
Tell you what, I liked it more than some of the movies we've watched on this podcast. Some of the other movies. I'll tell you what. Anyways, my opening thoughts are: it was awesome. Excited to talk about it. Don't really know what I'll say, but we'll talk about something. Yeah. I'm guessing whatever. All right. Mr. John.
I enjoyed this film quite a bit. I honestly have been I don't know. I've never been very warm to Malick. I like a lot of what he does conceptually. Like I think it's cool, but then I've never really watched anything and been like, wow, what a great movie. And this one, I finished it and was like, wow, what a great movie. So
there we go.
That was good. But yeah, I liked this movie a lot. I think that I was impressed with how it was able to lure me into it, just because I was already a little bit like I don't love Terrence Malick. I'm usually not super convinced by his movies. And then this one, it was like I started off kind of a little bit uneasy, but like Troy said it's good, so it's probably pretty good. And then it was just great. I liked it a lot. But yeah, overall, probably my favorite Malick film. Yeah, probably my favorite Malick film.
I think we've all seen the same Malick films, except John has not seen Night of Cups. But Steven and we've seen Tree of Life, Night of Cups, Song to Song, Days of Heaven.
Yeah, that's what
I've seen Hidden Life.
Night of Cups.
Neither of you guys have seen that.
I've not seen Hidden Life. I do want to see Hidden Life, though, if only for the landscape shots.
It is incredible. Not to derail this, but I just want to quickly throw out that I think moving the mouse to see how much movie is left is the same as like learning about the movie ahead of time.
No, I don't think it's the same tier. But
I think it's the same tier, but I think it's bad. I try not to do it. I was tempted to.
What if?
I was like, how much is left? I wanted to know. And I held back.
I
think it builds up expectations of certain kinds.
I mean, I don't know. It's not very often that I'm like, oh man, how much is left? And I check. Like, I definitely feel a hesitation towards it. Normally what happens is my activate Windows sign pops up in the center of my screen for some reason in the middle of watching.
Not in the center,
and then I have to go move the mouse, and then it disappears, and then I'm like, okay.
Yeah, I don't know why it happens. I think one of the monitors like falls asleep or something, and then I get two of them, but it's in the same location, but symmetric on the y-axis. Anyway,
I think I think moving the mouse, I understand that it might not fit into the ideal, but I mean, I just liken it to reading a book. I mean, you know how much you have left in a book. That doesn't like hurt the book really.
Yeah, but I think
writers.
I don't think it's a huge deal.
I think.
You think you shouldn't know
I think
how long
writers,
the book
if they
you're
had the
is?
choice, would make it impossible.
No way.
They would.
All
they
writers.
Totally
all
true.
writers.
So.
Listen, the book is a different medium, man.
Of all
it
writers.
is a different medium. That is a real point, but I think it's. I don't think it like hurts the movie.
I don't think
all.
it's a big point. I think it hurts the movie, but only in a very small sense.
And also, I don't think it necessarily hurts the movie. It can help because the generation of expectation can create a whole new type of enjoyment.
Well, I think
like that's not like a problem.
I think you should obviously be generating expectations and always interacting with that, but I don't think they should be generated from like
something that
interacting with like the length of the film. Yeah, like something outside the film. But whatever. Who cares?
Yeah, fuck it. I don't care.
Anyway.
Fuck it, dude. I like the movie a lot. Fuck you, Troy. I probably liked it more than you.
He likes it more than you, Troy.
No one likes movies.
Troy, you hate this movie in comparison to Steven.
I don't know if that's true, but It's a tough call for me. This movie versus Tree of Life. I think this movie is like way more interesting and way more way more well done in this like sort of super Malickian style. Sort of like Knight of
Malickian.
Cups. It's like way more heavy-handed with this like Malick stuff. But Tree of Life has a more like tangible narrative that I think is just so
Kind of
powerful.
disagree. I think that this one's narrative was the most compelling narrative of a Malick movie I've seen, especially compared to Knight of Cups.
Yeah, well, Knight of Cups like doesn't even have one.
Right. This I felt like was. I mean, like I was engrossed in the narrative the whole time.
Yeah.
The narrative like took a front seat, and also like the dialogue and stuff took a front seat.
Yeah.
Even though it was sparse or like really focused or controlled or unfocused in a way, but like sparse or something,
Yeah.
like it felt like that was at the front of my mind the whole time.
Yeah, I think I'm agree with that.
Yeah,
Okay.
something about Malick's style that I don't know. It might even be just the kind of like vagueness of what they're gonna do when they show up on set and stuff. Always makes it so it's like if you were to have worse actors and a worse director, like things would probably be said, like the dialogue would just be like all kind of like pseudo meaningful and powerful in these things, which near the beginning of the movie I was worried about because you had these like little emotional things where he like bumps into her and like I thought like okay that's cute or whatever, but like I feel like so fake. This feels so fake to me right now. But then as it progressed, suddenly like I became like hungry for like things being said, and then it was like every time one of them would say something, like I can't remember any particular moments, but I remember there were just a few moments where Ryan Gosling's character said just like a couple small lines and they just like really hit hard.
Yeah.
And they felt so natural. And
Yeah.
they felt so natural and in the moment, but still so like poignant and relevant to the overall
Yeah.
thing, which I was not expecting that to happen by like near the beginning of the film. And I don't know, that's kind of what I was talking about, how it kind of lured me in, and then those things just started happening, and it was like kind of started happening like all the time.
Yeah,
But yeah.
I loved how I loved that it's so modern and there's no illusion of it not being modern, and I mean like contemporary society type of thing. Like that was really cool, and like the fact that it opens with like this concert or something. Somehow it just felt like it felt like one of the most realism oriented Malick things. I mean, Knight of Cups was kind of that way, but there's this like weird distance you feel the whole time.
Yeah.
And Tree of Life too, where there's this distance where like you're telling a story. So maybe this is what Troy's saying, like with the narrative thing. It is more like storytelling, like a fable, but not in a negative way, like a fable almost, but it's American, and this one felt way more close and not telling a story. I mean, there's a narrative, but it's like you're really just peeking in on the lives and the dynamics, especially that's how I felt, at the beginning. And also to John's point with the Ryan Gosling lines, yeah, there's a line that, there's so many potentials for cliches, but Malick overcomes them so well, and also the actors for delivering them. And like, I mean, honestly, this movie could be so cringe if it was in the hands of bad people,
Yeah.
Like the Taliban.
And yeah, yeah, and like there's a line Ryan Gosling says, which is like, you can tell me whatever you want, like you can lie to me or something like that. That's like, I wouldn't even care, you can lie to me, dude. That line, like, while up such a potential like young adult cliche model like line, dude, it works so well.
Yeah.
And the thing is like it's not masquerading either. It's not like it's not what's the word? It's not like black and white. It's not an older film. It's not in a different language. No, this is contemporary American life, an American actor that said it in plain English, and it felt not contrived, which I thought was really impressive, if all those things make sense,
No,
You know what I'm
totally. Totally.
No.
I think that there's like lines all the time. There's so many moments that are primed to be cliche feeling, and then they just aren't. And it
Yeah.
really is, yeah, it really is impressive the how real it still feels like all the time, even when it's like, I mean, it's just like when you think about like the setup or whatever, you're just
Yeah.
like, all right, so we're gonna get these two big name actors and put them in this really pretty location, and then they're gonna have a conflict, and like,
Yeah.
and we're gonna just start rolling, and then we're just gonna keep rolling, and it's
Yeah.
just like the whole setup just like should be terrible, and I don't know what makes it good is so like subtle and really hard to
Yeah.
nail down is why it works.
Definitely a chemistry thing. Definitely, dude, Fassbender,
Love
fucking
Fassbender.
dude, Gosling and Rooney. I mean, those three, that trifecta, they all just really did so well. Like,
Yeah, Portman
I
was
thought they were.
trash.
I would say Portman was my least enjoyed. I enjoyed her the least and her arc the
Yeah.
least, but was still good.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, like Michael Fassbender was so epic.
Mhm.
But
Yeah,
and then
so good.
dude,
So
Ryan
good.
Ryan Gosling is insanely good at that role.
Yeah.
Like, and so it's awesome to see him in an unscripted version of playing that role, because you get to see like him bringing to the table the thing he'd bring to scripted roles, but instead like embodying it in a different way, and it works. Like you see that he can enter that mind, that frame of mind without a script, which I think is really cool, and act basically the same level of, cute boyish charm, like lost boy, kind of like, I don't know, whatever you might call him, or like the ideal man, like some sort of thing that he's always like got in him.
Mhm.
So I think it's so like definitely a chemistry thing, and like the actors just, I mean, they really embodied their things, even though they're all big names,
It really is so funny that Ryan Gosling just plays his character, you
Well,
know.
they all are sort of, except Fassbender.
Yeah.
Or maybe not that exactly, but yeah, the performances are obviously insane. But yeah, this whole the realism is definitely incredible here. And I think, like what Steve was talking about sort of the comparison to Tree of Life, totally agree. The Tree of Life comes off as a story or the fact that it's a story being told is much more apparent. And here it feels, so much closer, and so much like the realism is pretty incredible. And I think, like, to the point of realism, I always had the sense that the actors, like it all contributed to the realism. Like, I figured these are people, Ryan Gosling, Rooney, etc. Like, they're so familiar with this life, like this lifestyle, and it feels so authentic. And I felt like the whole time, like, Gosling is playing himself, Rooney is playing herself, Fassbender is playing a sort of like he knows this like character,
Yeah.
right? Like it's a part of his
Yeah.
life and things like this. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think that to that point, yeah, I mean, I feel as though in order to get this sense of like realism, or that, I don't know, realism might not be the right word, but that something real is happening on the screen,
Yeah.
like between characters. I think it might be
Authentic,
something closer to like the way that you watch like a play or something, and you watch it in the sense of realism. Like, I don't know, there is something like substantive happening between like characters like on stage or something, but you don't have any of this like requirement of like degrees of separation for suspension of disbelief, you know? And I feel like with this, there's something about the almost like ignorance of like continuity or something like that, or of trying to ground everything in this self-contained world. By like ignoring that, you can kind of get back at the little more like essential thing, which is something like chemistry, and that when they're interacting there's something happening between them.
Yeah.
And I mean that for all the actors when they interact with any other actor.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I definitely think the time. What a crazy thing with the whole time thing when the scenes of them walking in the puddle, they're brought back at the end,
Mm-hmm.
and that ends up being like the end, the ending or whatever, where we see that first like super early on, like in the first like 20 minutes as like Gosling and Rooney are like falling in love, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So epic. I don't know, whatever. But also the just that it worked because I thought about it in the first time as it being like a perfect little, oh, they're falling in love. It just blended with the whole montage of things that were going on. And then at the end, it became way more, it became its own piece. It became not a piece of a montage, but instead it took on its own like substantive symbolic thing, as opposed to in the beginning it was just lumped in with this montage of stuff. And so it's cool to see the same shot like just be presented in full and given its space, and then it takes on a whole more important thing to it as opposed to the beginning. Dude, what about Michael Fassbender's fucking chimp impersonation?
Oh, powerful.
Oh, yeah, that was good.
So powerful. It made
crazy.
me laugh. It was so awesome though, right?
It didn't make me laugh,
Yeah.
but yes, it was so awesome.
Yeah.
I think the mirror. To get back to.
Well, I mean, not laugh at it, by the way.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
it was a enjoyment laugh.
Yeah.
Like, wow, yeah.
I don't know. This is something John and I. Okay, well, to get back to the cliche thing, right? I think it sort of mirrors, like the general arc of the story of like, this type of unearned. I don't know. I want to say unearned wisdom, but it's not so much like there's wisdom, but it's unearned, like an unearned life or something. I found Fassbender's comments about like the cheapness of his life and like the cheapness of the things they do, like pretty compelling and like relatable to like, I don't know. It's cringe, but like, like video game stuff, if you've ever like paid money for some type of in-game luxury or something, like that type of cheapness, but also anyway, but they're like returning, right? Like we need to go back and start over, right? Like this sense of having like achieved the height of the gods, hung out with Fassbender, who's like a man against God, and like and then like returning to like the base truths and like to go back and find out what's there is like, I mean, like classic cliche, the whole, cliches are cliches because they're true, and like this type of return. And then also on this like laughing comment, John and I were disagreeing earlier because I didn't laugh or smile. I don't think I laughed or smiled during the movie, but maybe if I were reminded of a certain time. But I found the whole thing to be right like this. It's so successful.
You didn't smile when they're like falling in love and stuff,
no,
like early on.
Because I think it felt so. My explanation for that is well, I think it does. Probably the most compelling thing is how well the film does this song to song, right, atmosphere and lifestyle and feeling and emotions and like place to place, song to song, feeling to feeling, And what is the line that quote song to song? Like, what's the whole line? Do you guys remember?
No, but the line before, it's like a period, full stop, and then she says like song to song, or maybe it's like a semicolon song to song to like
I think
rephrase.
she says she wants to live song to song.
She says it.
Yeah,
Rudy
and then there's a thing. Yes, she's the narrative voice. Yeah, or like we were living our lives.
It's a descriptive statement, but song to song is one of like a couple phrases that describes the same thing.
No, yeah, that's the final phrase. There are, right. So she says a couple things beforehand, and they're good and based. I forget the description, but yeah, and then that's like the final summary. The final metaphor is song to song. Yeah. Like, yeah.
But I think it does, right. It's obviously incredible the way the film is structured and the way that it captures this song to song, lifestyle. But I think, right, the song to song is set against a backdrop of something a little more tangible, a little more
Permanent.
a little more permanent, a little more, dare I say, real. Not exactly, but right, something a little more concrete, right? That they're sort of ignoring, right? They live in this sort of like, fantasy song to song world,
Yeah.
right? And right, and the end is about like, I think, a return, right? They're
Right.
leaving the song to song lifestyle and they're returning to something more long, right? Something a little more a longer journey mission project, right? That's a little more stable and concrete. And so I felt strongly for pretty much the whole film the presence of this backdrop that was sort of looming over their lives, like whether that backdrop
Yeah,
be the fact that
definitely,
she
yeah.
is trading sex for success, or this, that, and that. And I think I smile in the end for sure, because the end feels super great. I think I smiled really strongly when Gosling is like making friends with the other oil rig worker, and they're like smiling and joking together or something. Anyway, so that was my, most of the time I felt like the happiness of them falling in love and things wasn't able to sort of break through the glass ceiling of that over that looming backdrop of like what's sort of really going on.
This is what I think. I mean, I don't know. I think that this something that the film did really well was getting me caught up in how fun the moment was.
Yeah.
Especially in Mexico. And though in the back of my head I know that like the situation is at the end of the day hellish in many regards.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Wait,
but
what was the phrase, Steven?
It must deteriorate.
yeah, like it's impermanent, and I still would like loved how fun Mexico was when they like get there and they're on the beach, and then the monkey thing, and then they're like wrestling in the bar and stuff. Like I thought that stuff like all like the buddy stuff between Ryan Gosling and Fassbender, as well as like the falling in love stuff. I mean, I don't know. I thought it did really good at taking me on this like kind of little roller coaster of like highs and lows, of like this kind of like this in the moment like high, like, oh wow, this is so fun, or oh my god, they're so in love, like, oh, this is so cute, to like the sudden just return to like they're screwed, like this is not gonna last, like they're I mean, I felt like it did a really good job of taking me up and down that, even if the what they like the inevitable result was still in the back of my mind.
Yeah, I have two things to say. Shit, I think I forgot the other one. It was that, I don't know. But the other thing about so we've all read Stoner in this here pod right now. And without a spoiler, Troy.
Yes.
You know in Stoner, the part that makes you smile,
Most of
I
the
think
movie.
you can just
the chunk that makes you smile.
Yes,
especially.
yes. The happiest.
'Cause I don't wanna
The
spoil.
happiest.
The happiest. That's all predicated on the undoing, right? Like, I mean, we know things are like not
No,
gonna work out.
I don't think so. I think we could make a good prediction.
Whoa.
But it's not like this movie.
No, I mean, at the end of the day, you know it can't work.
I don't think you. I think it's analogous in that sense, but I don't think it's so strong. I think here it's sort of like a
No, but here's the thing.
all paths are barred type of feeling.
No, but it literally defies that. Your prediction's wrong because the end makes you smile because Gosling and Rooney end up together.
Oh.
So like you have this like prediction of like it's all going to be some crazy undoing.
Hold on, something is on fire in my kitchen, so just go on without me for a
Go
little
take care of that. Go take care of that.
Yeah, go take care of that.
Do you know what I mean though, John? Like Troy's saying that it's like predicated on not working out. But what are we talking about? Do we mean Gosling and Rooney's relationship? Because yeah, of course, when we start the movie, I'm like thinking, oh, they're gonna break up. I mean, come on, we've got so much time left. They're just falling in love. There's got to be some conflict. And there's
Yeah.
this whole Fassbender thing, which is gonna make things insane. But ultimately, by the end of it, like the true love triumphs or something, or like they're gonna like invest in each other and like try something. So
Yeah.
that's like so. What I mean to say is, I think I disagree with this whole you can't enjoy things because it's predicated on like a destruction at the end.
Yeah,
uh
I no, I
which are you talking
totally
about?
totally agree. I think the stoner analogy is 100% sound, and actually I'm like the fact that you brought it up, like I think it fits. I don't know. I think that it's basically no, it works. It's a good
Yeah,
analogy.
because like he's fallen in love
Yeah,
and
yeah,
it's
yeah.
like,
No, it's
oh yay.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's a good analogy. Though the inevitability of song to song is a little more up and down. Like it's a little more present, like the ending or something, like because she's lying, because she's lying
Yeah.
about her relationship with Fassbender, and like, or doesn't or not telling it. And so it's like you're kind of, at least for her anyways, you're always kind of returning to like that, like she's not, even when she's in the high, she's
Hmm.
also like she's immediately reminded of where she
Right.
actually is or something. But I do, yeah, I don't think that it's predicated on the fact that it's going to end, because of course it's not. Like, I don't know, that just seems obvious to me. Like when you're watching it, it's like, um I don't know, it's like they're gonna die or something, they're gonna die,
Yeah.
so eventually, so I
Yeah.
can't enjoy this anymore, like death
Yeah.
trumps it,
Yeah.
I
Well,
just
or
I
it's
just
like,
don't,
or yeah.
I don't understand, like I don't
Yeah.
understand it, which,
Well,
yeah,
and
and
all,
that's, yeah.
yeah. Two things. One is just to reiterate, which I don't think you're disagreeing with. Like this inevitability idea is trumped. It's subverted
Mhm.
because they've returned. They returned to like some life of rediscovery of themselves and things with each other. And like some beauty thing to it.
Yeah,
Um,
they're so
where
epic.
so epic. Oh my god, so
It's
awesome. Like
so
this
good.
extreme forgiveness.
Yeah.
For each other and stuff. Um, and what else? Um, shit, dude. Again, I forgot what I was gonna say. What was the last thing you said? You
um
said fucking.
I said that it's not predicated on. I said something about
Oh,
like
I got
dying
it.
or
I
whatever,
got it.
like
Perfect.
they're
Okay,
gonna
right.
die.
It's also like if you're so there's two. Okay, let's be honest. There's two ways. If a friend gets in a relationship and you know that the person they're with is not good, of course you're thinking about the inevitability of its end. But if the relationship, I guess, is like decent, you know,
Yeah.
or good even, like or like you don't know the person at all, like you totally don't know, that's like a good, like you're not immediately thinking about how they're gonna break up, one day. You're
Yeah.
just thinking about like, oh wow, like cool, Um, of course, I guess in Song to Song, if it's kind of like you if Ryan Gosling's your friend and he's falling in love with Rooney and you know that she's a two-time and hoe, then I guess I'd be thinking about, dude, it's gonna end, bro. Fuck you, bro. And if he ever came to me and told me about how awesome his night was with the girl, but I know that she's two timing,
Yeah.
I'd be like, dude, you're in hell, bro. You're in
Yeah.
hell. But of course, the movie's like the way it is, and their chemistry and everything overcomes that, which is actually kind of a good thing because I think
Yeah.
I think like what I'm saying about the relationship thing is a bit of a cynical thing,
Totally.
you know.
And no, yeah, it's definitely a cynical take, and it's also, I mean, why I started saying what I was saying originally, like in response to Troy, why I started saying it by saying that, the I was so impressed that the film could convince me of how wonderful it is to be in that moment
Yeah,
while the situation is so hellish. Like
yeah,
that's amazing, cuz like I feel like movies all the time they're like, "Well, we're going to have these really complicated characters, or like in, I don't know, a particular TV show I've been watching, but like they're like, we're gonna have these really complicated characters.
Wait, Dox it. Dox the TV show. Is it the one I know about?
Yeah, it's Outer
what's it
Banks.
called?
I was watching Outer Banks, and
Doxed.
like these yeah, doxed. the yeah, they have like these characters who are like supposed to be all interesting, and like we ultimately cheer for them because we have these fun moments, but then they just keep committing like crimes and doing bad things.
Right.
And it just makes it doesn't successfully sell you on how much fun they're having or how good
Right.
it is for them to be buddies, even though their
Right.
life is a living hell. And so what happens is you watch it and you're like, wow, look at these idiots like enjoying the moment when they should be like
Yeah.
turning
Fixing their
themselves in,
goddamn
or
lives,
like
yeah.
or just stopping committing
Yeah.
crimes. And
Yep.
so yeah, and I feel like that's very easy to make something like that, like where it's very hard not to do that. And I think
Yeah.
that Malick really successfully makes this horrible situation and then convinces you of how good it is, which I think that I think, as far as, I mean, what you're saying about like if you were buddies with Ryan and you're like,
Yeah.
hey, Rye guy, come on, bro, like just break up with her or whatever.
Yeah.
It's different than that, because I'm not saying that you're saying that
No, I
we
know
were
what
put
you
in the
mean,
position
yeah.
of his friend, but
Yeah.
like it's different than that because the film makes you relate to them like personally, as opposed to just, I don't know, you're given an intimate window into why
Yeah.
they love each other or something like that.
Yeah.
Which I don't know, I think that is really impressive, because it's often in when you're watching a movie and you're just like, yeah, but like why do you, like, I don't know how often you like watch something and you're like, just break up, just, it's not a
Yeah.
problem, just
Like,
stop
yeah, why
loving
are
each
you
other,
so
because
into her right now?
because
Why are
you're
you so into her?
yeah, because you're so unconvinced by
Mhm.
why, because
Mhm.
because the film or the TV show or whatever it is unable to convince you of that or show it or whatever, and this
Yeah.
just does it. Like I'm so totally like, and it makes the inevitable end so much more devastating, because you're like, you liked it, you wanted it to be, or I wanted it to be good and work out,
Mhm.
but then in the very end, then it makes the fall way more devastating, and it makes the coming back up way
Yeah.
more life affirming, epic,
Yeah.
true, dude. Honestly, also, okay, never mind. I want Troy to be here for the next.
Yeah, I know.
or
I've got
another
a
thing.
take that I want Troy to be here for too. Like, I've got a take about that whole fall. The fall you just said. Yeah.
Yeah, I hope his house doesn't burn down.
Damn it. I don't know. Shit. Should we just keep going on with the pod, or should we make memes? Just
We can
joke?
make memes. We can talk about other things.
Oh my god! All right.
I didn't think I had a lot of
Um,
things to talk about this movie, but now I'm going, and I'm like, man, there's certain things. Oh,
Yeah.
dude, there's certain things.
Dude, yeah. Let's see. Maybe we could just talk about. Yeah, I thought Michael Fassbender did an insanely good job. I think his character was, as we've already like kind of pointed out or like talked about just before, is like I think his character was the least one to one with him. Like
Yeah.
he had to put on a show to be that character.
Yeah.
And I do think he has known someone in his life, or he must have some connection, because he really
'Cause he
embodies it
nails
so
it,
damn
yeah.
well. Yeah, so well. I mean, this is probably my favorite performance of his, even though he's always a very good actor. He does a good job, but
Mhm.
this one felt extremely personal. Even and knowing, well, I guess I don't really know. Maybe he is kind of like this in real life, and it's
Yeah.
all an illusion. Maybe not. Maybe not like evil, but like maybe that whole drinking and like bellicose kind of like wrestling and
Yeah.
like I'm sorry and like getting drunk and saying I'm sorry, bro, you're my brother, I love you. Maybe that is him. I have no idea.
Yeah.
Maybe it's not.
I'd believe it just from the movie, because it's
Yeah.
so good.
Yeah, but so like I'm just super impressed with his ability to do that. If it's not his natural position in life, yeah, because he plays such a vague antagonistic role, but and by vague I don't mean like it's obvious the way in which he's an antagonist, but vague in the sense that he you kind of he's like super bad, but you also like him, and you also forget how bad he really is, and not in a cringe not in a cringe way, I'm just thinking about like young adult shows where like you have these like teen after school teen dramas, and like this mean bully kid shows his affectionate side, and now you're supposed to sympathize with him.
Yeah.
But really, Michael Fassbender, like, his character's never like that good of a dude. I guess when they go to Mexico, they have fun. He's a fun guy.
Yeah, no, he's charismatic. Like he's a character. You like him not because he has good values or something like this, or that he's like a good friend, but it's because it's because he's intriguing in like other ways, which I wish. Yeah.
He's charismatic. I think that's true, and in a unique way, because in the young adult shows or whatever, or these bad movies, like the guy who's an antagonist but also supposed to be lovable, like it doesn't come across as earned. Instead, it comes off as like a genuine like either like psychopathy or flaw or something like that. Whereas for him, it's totally like part of his character or something like that, and it's not like he's not like a like a bipolar or borderline like psychopath where he's like, I love you, and then he hates you, and then he wants to be your best friend, and then he's annoyed with you. Like, it's not like that. Ryan Gosling knows who he is going into it. So does Rooney. Like, everyone knows who he is, and yet they stay around him. But yeah, just because he's, I guess, charismatic or something. I don't know. But it worked out in a unique way, super unique way.
Yeah, that's why I love the buddy stuff between him and Ryan Gosling, because it feels so unlike the bully being like, oh, but I actually just want to be good. Yeah. Like, but I just am bad. It's like, no, it's just, it's integrated into his whole, what makes him bad as well. Yeah,
it's not like, he's got two sides of him. Oh, he's got two sides. No. He's always this way, and it always makes sense about who he is,
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, dude, I agree. That integrated makes sense, yeah.
And he's such an interesting character. He has so many, I can't recall most of them, or any of them, but he has so many lines that are just so good. Like, he just, I don't know. I feel like a lot of his dialogue was, I just remember liking it a lot. Yeah. And it hitting home.
Yeah, I think I just thought of this. Like, you think of he is kind of like if you frame it in some religious network or something, he's like the false deity. Like the guy who could be like divine or something, but instead he's fallen, like, like what's his name, Lucifer or whatever, Satan or whatever. Yeah. But and so when he says, and he's looking all psycho in this moment, when he's saying, like, look at your hands, look at your fingernails, they've got no dirt under them. Yeah. And then by the end of the movie, we see Gosling, who's returned to beauty and nature and life and love, and he's getting his hands extremely dirty. Yeah. He's like literally working one of the most dirty jobs possible. Yeah. But you feel like he's not moving towards this corrupted dirtiness. Instead, he's moving towards like this, the dirtiness of life, and like somehow, just that metaphor finds its beautiful conclusion in the ending.
I didn't make that connection, but I think that things like that. Okay, I think that's true, and it is. Yeah, it's a good like arc for the metaphor and a good conclusion. But I think that something about the structure of the movie makes it seem like things like that would be incredibly hard to incorporate, like circular anything. Yeah. Because I was actually, when watching the film, in the first 15 minutes, I thought the film was just going to continue on drifting and then end badly, and then drift, and then it'll eventually be like, and then they drifted forever, and then like cut. Right. And I was just blown away that it had such a like the potency of like a classically structured narrative.
Yeah,
Like while never feeling, while still having this wandering, like we're over here, we're over there, like thing going on, while still, I don't know, that I don't think I've ever seen that quite like that before.
Mm-hmm.
And have it be so satisfying and feel so, I don't know. Yeah, it just worked.
Yeah, I love how when they're wandering, so it is like in that way, this is like my most favoritist,
My mosted favoritist.
Like way that Malick really told a story here. Even though we've already said that Tree of Life is more storytelling, this one felt like masterful narrative. And when you said masterful narrative execution or something, and you said like it seems hard to do with this style, I totally agree. Like you wonder how much was planned, how much of like he always goes so freeform, but it seems like the shots he got and the progression of everything was so well executed that it's almost like it had to go this way.
Yeah. There is a completeness to it that makes it feel as though the decision making, because like there is no point in the movie where I'm like, well, what if they did this instead or something like that. There is something very just like concrete about all of the directions that the movie goes. It just feels as though like this is the story, which I feel like is just generally a sign of a good movie or a good book or something. Like it never feels as though there was a decision made that couldn't have been made another way,
right?
Or could have been made another way. I mean, yeah, there's so many shots in the film, and Troy is back.
Dude, the fire was huge. I think my unit's fine. The unit above, I think there were some fatalities, but the fire's been put out.
Wow, fatalities that quick?
You know how fire is.
Yeah, it's
so hot.
I mean, it's the fastest thing known to man.
Yeah,
right?
I think it's faster than light. It's like they call it
it is light.
Speed of,
it's literally
the speed of fire.
The speed of fire. Fire speed.
Yeah, even though I missed out on a substantive portion, I'm still going to be courageous and just act like nothing happened.
That's fine. Look, we were waging. We were holding the big guns. We were just praising the movie in many different ways.
Actually, has anything really been discussed? Because I have some things I want to talk about.
No. Well, things did a little bit. We were at this point, at the point that you re-entered, we were kind of just generally praising the movie and making kind of a little more general observations. We weren't responding to each other super directly or building. Yeah, we weren't giving our takes. Basically, we decided that you're cynical and you hated this movie. You didn't understand it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So basically, your resistance to my stoner analogy is wrong and dumb.
Wait, what analogy again?
The
stoner analogy. The stoner analogy is correct and true and based, and you're cringe and
it's not.
Shut up.
This movie is way more evil and foreboding than Stoner is. Like, Stoner, you still have the sense that anything could happen, like maybe he could make it. I totally disagree. I think there's some sense in which like, this can't work, or there's a problem in the background. But this one, it's like, they're in the Satan chamber.
No, but they work out. It all works out.
Well,
you're wrong.
No.
Yeah.
But it collapses, and then they leave the chamber, and then it works.
Yeah, and then it works out.
Yeah.
So it works out.
Yeah, it works out, but I'm saying that I had the strong sense of being in the chamber, and I agree with everything John described in his big monologue that now, is too long ago to really reference, but, talking about the ups and downs and how well it did these things within the backdrop or within the chamber. But I'm saying I agree with all that, but it never got me to overtly smile because, whoa, we're in the chamber, baby.
Yeah, it's because you're cynical.
It's not because I'm cynical.
It's because you're cynical.
No, it's because I'm observant and I'm aware.
Oh no, listen, but
Yeah.
you were never
Cynical.
totally convinced. You were never totally convinced of the moment, of how
Yeah, of the
good the
beauty of
moment
their
was.
love.
You were
No.
never in the moment all the
No,
way.
because the
Yeah,
moment-
otherwise you'd
the
be
moment-
smiling because they're so beautiful and in love.
The
No,
moments are
I'm
so
aware,
good and happy.
I'm aware.
That's what I mean. You're cynical and logical, dude. You're cringe.
No,
you're
I'm-
male logic,
Oh
dude.
my gosh, it's because I'm aware of what the actors don't know. Maybe both. At least they don't both know. But I'm aware of the incredible beauty. But so much of it is like the perceived joy and copacetic nature, and I'm aware of the dramatic irony or whatever.
I really don't get how you can say that your enjoyment of moments in Stoner, maybe even besides the moment of the I don't want to spoil things, which sucks, but of the obviously happy moment. There's other moments that are good and based and happy in it,
Yeah.
but they're always predicated on terrible things going on, and the whole time it's this somber outlook, like his life is going to end. The whole time, and that's what makes like those powerful base moments. You're like, fuck yeah, like that shit was crazy. And
Because
but it's
they're
all
legitimately
predicated on the end of it all.
good moments. There's a difference between.
Well, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
in
You're
song
not
to song,
convinced of the
there's
legitimate
legitimately good
goodness
moments.
of Gosling and Rooney's relationship.
Yeah,
You weren't convinced
there's
of it.
Totally good moments in their
No.
relationship.
Hold on, give me 1 second. Let
Alright.
me put it together.
All right.
Okay. I see the good moments in Stoner, right? There's a backdrop of mediocrity and sadness and somber tone, right?
Yeah.
And then something legitimately good from all angles is able to pierce through for a moment and shine, right?
Yes.
I see, but the mediocrity and that somber stuff in the background is more like atmospheric than material, and it bears.
No, it's very material.
It is.
There's so many.
No,
I can
but
list
this is the
ways in
core
which it's
disagreement. The
material.
core disagreement is I don't feel, as the audience at that time in the book, it doesn't feel so material. To me, it felt like this could really go somewhere. This doesn't have to, it doesn't have to return, right?
No, but besides just the even other good moments.
Well, I want to talk about that
God,
good moment.
It sucks. Well,
That's
okay,
what I'm
fine.
most familiar with. I'm
And
just
I would
saying it
still-
doesn't
I
have
would
to
still- I
return.
would
Doesn't
This
have
still-
to
is
end.
really insane that we're just like
I would still-
referencing it.
referencing-
without
who
talking
cares?
about it.
Stoner,
I think,
yeah, I know. I hate that we can't just spoil the shit out of the
I don't
book
know
and
why
have a
we
real
can't.
conversation.
I don't know why we
But
can't.
I agree.
I don't know. I don't want to ruin someone's
off,
stoner
John.
time. But
All right, audience,
look,
go
look,
read
look,
Stoner.
Look,
So
no,
good.
it
Pause,
doesn't
go
matter.
read Stoner,
Look,
return to
look,
the podcast.
No.
So what's important? Just refute this point.
Okay.
The love that Gosling and Rooney, the chemistry predicated on this knowledge that we have that, there's an affair going on between them, right? That there's this like adultery going on, right? It's still genuine and pierced. It pierced me, and that's what made me smile. Like that, of course she's committing this problem, this infidelity, but it's so powerful and good and based, and they seem like so in love, and Gosling's like such a good person, and his love seems so pure that I'm just gonna smile at this because it seems so, and that's why it overcomes. That's why I say cynical, even though maybe you're not actually cynical.
I'm not.
saying. But the way, but your so what your perspective is one that John and I mentioned. It's like or that I mentioned, like I don't know, I discussed with John. The idea that like your buddy's in a relationship with a bad girl. She's a bad girl and it, he won't admit it to himself, and you're thinking about, because she's a two-timer, right? She cheats and that or something. Maybe she's cheating.
Yeah.
And you're thinking like, and so he comes into the Discord and he's like, dude, I just had the most wonderful night with her.
Yeah.
It was so awesome. I loved her. We did this
Yeah.
and this and this. It was beautiful and great. And I think I really love her. And you're going like, she's a two-time and hoe, dude. You can't love her.
Yeah.
Okay, it can't be beautiful because you're doing that, because she's a two-timer. But ultimately, this movie, through its depiction, overcomes that natural inclination to go, because their love is so, powerful. Those scenes were so well done, and the chemistry between Ryan Gosling and that girl were so good.
I don't disagree. I don't even the core disagreement. The core disagreement.
That makes me smile. That's why
the
it
core
makes
disagreement
me smile.
is, it's not even a disagreement. I'm saying I didn't smile. I see it as, I agree with that, but I think the bitter of the bittersweet is still very strong in my mouth. And I think part of it is, I agree with the description. I agree with the analogies. I agree with the sentiment. I just didn't
so
smile.
it's just a weighting of the bitter.
I didn't see it.
A weighting of the bitter.
It didn't strike me as a triumph. And I think usually like triumphs are what make me smile, like make me just so filled with joy. But I did experience strong emotional connection. I found it extremely lovely.
Okay, that
Am I satisfied?
Sufficient.
that being
Did I pass the
the
test?
case. If that is the case,
Uh-huh.
that everything you said about not smiling and being very adamant about, well, it didn't make me smile and it's because of this thing in the background,
Uh-huh.
all of that does not imply that you felt what you just said you felt. So that's just what I'm going to say, is that if that is really how you felt, it was lovely and good and
Yes.
awesome, then that
But it's good. I'm just saying, yeah, it's lovely and good, but it's good with an asterisk, and it's like a pretty serious one. I don't think anyone's going to disagree with that.
no, I don't think so.
Yeah,
I'm
but,
just-
but the thing is to be convinced of it is to not think about the asterisks.
Yeah, I
When
don't.
you're
Yeah,
convinced of it, you're not constantly thinking about the
All right,
asterisks.
fine.
So it
Then
doesn't
I'll.
play
Yeah,
much weight on
then
you.
I'll go back. I don't think it triumphs over the asterisk. I think it does in the end
okay.
because it
Of course, it
addresses
triumphs
because
in
it
the end,
addresses
right,
the
yeah.
asterisk.
Yeah,
Right, it actually takes
right.
care
At
of
the
it.
end, in the end, it does.
Right,
Yeah.
it actually takes care of it, and yeah.
Look, whatever, loser. Here's a different point. How about I love the fact.
Sorry, go ahead.
This is a good take, and then you'll put out a take. And this is not. This is just about the movie.
fantastic take for like 45 minutes.
Yeah. Look, I refuted your take. Okay,
No.
I won over
No,
your
Joey,
take. I beat
you
your
got
take.
mogged. You're
did
done.
not
You got
get mogged,
mogged.
whatever.
Your take just got mogged, bro.
Yeah, you're done.
All right. Anyways. No, I love the fact that it might not even be a very bountiful take, this one, but because I think you guys will agree, it might not be replete, but when they have their fall, you know, that when each of them, when the breakup happens and Ryan Gosling goes on to his, they separate paths, right? You know, their paths separate for a while.
Yeah. It gets really
It's
hot.
it's so interesting how Ryan Gosling's path is both of them enter into some strange regression thing, or like some whereas like Gosling's literally like this weird Oedipal thing going on, or at least like this strange maternal craving that he wants, you know, / he wants to care for her like his mother, you know, like he finds this surrogate mother in Cate Blanchett's character, you know.
Yeah.
And I thought that arc was so interesting, and that's literally in some sense like a regression into like, you know, like some sort of like young childlike thing, or like it's like I don't know, something like that. And then her arc is to go full on lesbo mode. But I know that with the lesbo mode, when she's lesbian or having her lesbian fling or whatever, what was I gonna say? Oh, she says the line. She's narrating the line when she says, the people here, what is it? It's they play with sex.
Yeah.
It's cheap or something like that.
Yeah.
I thought that was so good.
Or no, in
So
the
good.
end she says...
So
no, I think it's
good.
more
I think
towards
I
the
li-
end where she says, I played with sex like the flame of life.
No,
Yeah.
she doesn't say. No, at this, what I'm talking about, she's not saying I played with it. She says they play with it.
Yeah,
like
they,
here,
yeah,
like
yeah.
In,
And then
this
later
world.
she admits to having played with it.
Sure, and that could be the case. But she says, no, wait, did she say? I think I wrote it down. I thought it was so good. They play with sex, they make it cheap.
Yeah.
I thought that was just like such a good, poignant, simple line. But she's saying it in the middle of her own wandering, and so it is some sort of like acknowledging that, like, you know, like young, I'm just imagining a college town,
Yeah.
you know, young people playing with sex, making it cheap, you know, and you know what? We'll just leave it at that. That's all.
Well,
Anyways,
well, it's certainly true, and
Yeah,
I like
yeah.
it. I think
Yeah.
it's in tune with like Fassbender's commentary about his like he sees himself as like the ultimate cheapener of life itself. Like he
Yeah.
cheapens lives. He'll take you in and he'll cheapen your life. You know. He'll
Yeah,
make
pay
it
for
all
everything.
pay. You know, you just as soon as you buy it, it's cheap. And like he does it with sex. He does it with he basically buys the people, right, and they pay in sex, and everything like that. So yeah, I think it's right.
yeah, I just think it's interesting that both of their, I guess I won't say like infantile regression, but like both of their regressions during their fall, as they're like aimless and wandering, and like grappling with some internal strife that they haven't contended with yet. For Gosling, it's his like home life / mother situation, as through Kate Blanchett, versus her, it's this like lesbianic kind of like sexual thing going on. They're both like doing something about like some weird overcoming thing.
Yeah, I disagree with the focal point. So I see it as, I agree with I don't know, I think they both sort of regress into, so like I think, right, they're both sort of doing this bad thing, and then Rooney more so, right? Then they get up there, they meet, and they like a vision of their future catalyzes, and they can see something great and something they want, and etc. But then, right, they're brought down. I think they're sort of like they adopt some kind of like something like, we can't do it, right? Like the unattainable. It's unattainable. It's unachievable, right? It can't be done. It's not for me. Whatever. I see Rooney's regression as more so. She just does the same thing, but instead of Fassbender, it's this other powerful woman who's a lesbian. I don't think she. Well, I don't know. Maybe I don't understand the whole thing, but I see it more so as, right, she's just gonna sell herself to a different devil, and this devil happens to be a lesbian. More so than,
Yes.
I'm gonna become a lesbian now, right? Like,
No,
I just
that's
think,
exactly
right?
true.
Yeah. So
Yes,
and then
yes. So
and,
it's more, it's a bisexuality thing. She's not.
yeah,
like
and Gosling
a lesbian.
does
Yeah.
right a different thing, but I think he sort of like returns to the vapid life, and like something like this.
Vapid.
I-
Just by taking care of Kate Blanchett or something,
Wait,
and, like
Kate-
going to parties and stuff.
Yeah, doing this
She's
sort
like
of thing.
the older blonde woman.
Yeah, yeah. I want to talk about all the
I do have
sex.
In line though with this thingy. So I do find it interesting that Rooney's character is like, her pivotal moment is when she's like talking to her dad, and she says something like, I know like you've been ashamed of me or something like that, or I just want you to not be ashamed of me.
So good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, that dad was super base,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
So
yeah.
it's so sad.
So
Like,
sad.
So good.
So sad, so honest and real and true. That was so good.
Yeah.
Because like most dads really are just like, they just can't do
Victims.
shit. Yeah, they can't do shit.
Yeah.
You can't do shit once they've grown up and stuff.
Yeah.
But no. But that moment, I do agree. She goes back to doing the same thing that she was doing with Michael Fassbender, but without like some sort of like love interest along the way.
Yeah.
But what was I gonna say? Oh, the whole shame thing. Oh, because like she really hasn't. She has like no prospects. She's really like, all she was like a secretary, and then had lived a cheap life.
No, she's a musician.
Um.
No, Rooney is an aspiring musician.
But the fact that you almost see none of it
You
during
basically
most of the
never
film.
see her,
Yeah.
and you know that her only deal ever is through Fassbender.
Yeah, she's trying to get the deal. Like Ryan has already gone through the selling his soul process and has made it, and she is new to the selling her soul process.
No, but she's been in it. No, she was new Fassbender longer than Ryan Gosling.
Yeah,
was
well,
in
she
it
gets
since
the
she was
record
like
deal.
17 or something like that.
She gets the record deal.
Does she ever actually execute
We
on
don't.
it though?
I don't think we know, but we do see her playing on stage. But then she gets.
Oh, we do?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
But
she
then,
plays guitar
Yeah,
or
she plays
something,
guitar
right?
at
Yeah.
South by Southwest in her band. But then she gets instrumentalized into some other like sort of media stunt where that guy goes on and throws uranium on the crowd,
Yeah.
which I really liked.
Yeah.
Because I had that quick moment of like, and I was like, oh, it's just some media stunt, right?
Oh, talking about the quick moment where you're
Some-
like, is the toilet paper, when they do the toilet paper?
Oh,
out the
dude,
window,
I love
and you're
that.
Like, whoa!
That
I
was-
actually got
What?
like very brief vertigo from it.
Oh, you did?
When
Remind me
they're
of
in
the
an apartment,
I
Ryan
love that
Gosling and
part.
Rooney,
Yeah.
and Ryan Gosling's holding a piece of toilet paper, like a roll of toilet
Yeah.
paper that's nearly finished, and he like tosses it so that it would unwind as it falls.
Yeah.
And the camera is like on a stick or something like that,
Oh,
and
yeah,
goes,
it goes over.
and out, and you see like
Yeah,
you see
yeah.
it, dude. I actually like my heart raced. Yeah, it was so crazy.
That's good.
That's all.
Oh, Troy has something else to say.
I want to talk about the sex, dude.
Okay, let me just say this because it's very short.
Go ahead.
and this is going back to point about it being very, very contemporary and not pretending not to be.
Yeah.
Just when like Iggy Pop is just in the movie for a second,
Yeah.
like
He's just
I don't
being
know,
Iggy Pop.
Yeah, he's just being Iggy Pop, and
I
don't know.
Iggy Pop gets name dropped before he appears.
Uh-huh.
I think at some point he's like
No, he
just in
does.
some random dialogue, right? Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that that moment, I felt like there are movies. I feel like that is something that's hard to pull off. Like, we are now going to introduce a celebrity playing themselves inside
That's
of
true.
this world and not have it break the little bubble that we've created of disbelief for the movie or whatever. But yeah, that's all.
I think it's able to do that because you already believe that Ryan Gosling is just Ryan Gosling and Rooney is basically Rooney.
Yeah.
And like
yeah.
you're literally there in South by Southwest. Like you're actually like this. I thought it was so incredible how real it was because it was literally real. And there's another. Well, I want to get to that, but yeah, I mean, you're literally at South by Southwest. These are real people. These are real strangers. I don't even think like I think there's like a lot of those people around aren't cast members. And you can watch behind the scenes, and they're not, right? Like, they just have a super sort of, guerrilla, whatever it's called. They have, at those places, they're doing a sort of guerrilla filmmaking thing, and, they're really there, and it's incredible. And I remember feeling the same way. Something struck me strongly about the zero-gravity plane scene, where they're in the private jet.
So
and
cool.
it's like, and it just feels great because it feels like everyone involved knows this life and lives that life, right? Like they all are flying around in private jets. Like, and here you are, the camera in the flying jet, and they do the zero gravity thing. And I feel like something about it was like legitimately comical, but also something about like we are really doing this. I don't know. I don't know if you can actually. I sort of became preoccupied at the time, wondering if you can actually do zero gravity in a jet like that, or if they dressed up one of those zero gravity jets to make it look like a normal private jet. Anyway, yeah, I think they're able to show Iggy Pop because it's like rolling up on him and him just being him isn't substantially different from the way most of it feels with like the prime characters. Right, if it were like Ryan Gosling acting like a mechanic, like he's something else,
Yeah, I totally agree. And something to that point, Natalie Portman's character, who falls kind of flat, and I don't really care too much for her. Her arc is interesting, and her arc is like good, I guess. But she's not really playing herself. It feels, even though she's doing a good job acting, she feels like one of the most distant from her character. Like she's playing a character, and maybe that's a problem a little bit, I don't know.
Maybe. I still, I mean, while I think Natalie Portman's character was, I think when she first gets introduced, one of the weakest, and I think that if there was less, like, I don't know, if there's less expectation in my mind for Natalie Portman has now entered the film and is now going to be a lead character or something like that. I think if I had that expectation removed, I would be little to completely not disappointed by Natalie Portman's character. Because I think ultimately, I mean, if she comes in as what she is presented as, which is kind of like he's just looking for another cute girl to pick up and bring into the cheap life or whatever, then she becomes what she becomes, I think that it's way more I don't know, man, because like when she dies and her mom is screaming in the parking lot, like that was one of the most like sharp moments for me, especially near the end. And so I think that I was
gonna say the mom I thought was very good. I thought she saved the arc. I thought that every scene with her was awesome.
Yeah. I mean, maybe she does a lot of carrying for the arc, but I don't know. I think that I don't know if you're supposed to be as invested in Natalie Portman's thing. I mean, I don't know. I still found it like super sad because I don't know. I thought her character existing was a good thing because she ends up being like what Rooney got out of. Like she ends up completing the hell arc. Like she ends up completing Rooney's arc. Rooney's.
That's true.
Yeah, and I thought that was, I don't know, I really liked that because I liked the idea that we got to see like the tragedy that Rooney missed, and it's like, oh, thank God Rooney got out of that. But at the same time, it's like, oh my gosh, like this woman has to deal with it now, and then she ends up killing herself, and it's like, I don't know, I think it was, I don't know, I found it to be a really smart and sharp and poignant like narrative choice to have her continue Rooney's arc and then end like that. But yeah, I mean, her mom, obviously so epic at the hands, and you should wear gloves was one of my favorite lines when her mom, when she's like, Natalie Portman's like, Mom, you have such beautiful hands, like you should wear gloves, when she's like cleaning, and her mom's like, "Rah," and then keeps cleaning. But yeah.
Okay, I think Natalie Portman. I just wish it weren't Natalie Portman, because I hate her. But
Oh,
just kidding. She's fine. I just can't think of anything good she's ever done.
Have you ever seen Closer?
No, I haven't seen Closer, and I haven't seen
Black Swan.
I haven't seen Black Swan. I haven't
Black
seen
Swan.
Closer.
Okay, so you haven't seen her two
I haven't
best
seen
movies.
Black Swan.
Yeah, listen, I saw.
I kind of like not
what's the
seeing
musical
it.
one?
I don't know what. Wait, Steven, you said you
The one
like
with
Black
the
Swan. You
sewers.
don't like Black Swan.
No, I kind of like having not seen Black Swan, but also seeing scenes from it and always thinking like, dude, this movie's probably pretty good.
Yeah,
Dude,
that's how I feel.
Black
I bet-
Swan.
I'm being
Black Swan
hyperbolic.
is good. It is.
Yeah,
good.
I bet it's good. I
John,
really
do you
bet
realize
it's
you
good,
just
but
admitted
I
to
also-
cringe?
Do you realize you
Whoa.
just?
Do you
Said
just
you
realize
like
you
to
plead
bleed other
guilty
people
to
like-
third-degree felony cringe?
Do you realize you just dissed Queen B, Queen N, Natalie?
Anyway,
Wait,
so-
in what?
okay, so hold on. Okay, I think John's right. It's the completion of an arc, but it's substantially different given her background. And finally, this is a great, perfect lead-in to what I want to talk about.
Okay. All right.
What? It is.
Oh, well, I know it is substantially different, but it's never mind. Keep going.
No, it's all about the background. Okay, so she is someone different. We're going to talk about this. Okay, so
Who are you talking about? What are you talking about?
we're talking about.
I honestly am lost.
We're
dude. I'm still
talking
just thinking
about
the
Me Too,
ridiculous thing I
baby.
just
We're
said.
talking about Me Too. We're talking about very powerful people. We're talking about very powerful people using their positions of power
right
in this society that we live in.
right.
We
Race.
live in a society.
You're talking about race.
We're talking about race, and they use their positions of power. Anyway, so obviously, right, that's a huge subject, and I bet Malick thought that it would explode a little more given when it came out.
Oh, I see. Right, and that this.
Right, this
okay.
is the whole thing.
I didn't
right?
even think about that. I
That's
didn't even
actually
think about
insane
Me
because
Too
like the
thing,
whole
but yeah.
evil going on, all the evil, not all of it, but right at a surface level, huge aspect of the evil is right Fassbender basically holding these people's lives in his hand and forcing them to have sex with him or else, right? Mm-hmm. So, what I love about one thing I love about this film, at least in this aspect, is how well it captures this dynamic. Now, I'm going to go ahead and make the disclaimer, right? I'm not discussing the real life Me Too events. I'm only discussing the events of this film. Anyway, so the way...
Why did you bring it up in the first place then? I
Because
feel like we
the
didn't
analogy is obviously there.
Okay,
Right?
I know.
The analogy is
Okay,
obviously there. It's
sorry.
obviously
Sorry.
saying something
Yes.
about the situation.
Yes,
but
it
then
is.
I don't want to talk about this film where everything is consensual and someone's like, but Weinstein did
Okay.
whatever, right? And it's,
Okay,
you know,
okay,
I'm not
okay.
talking
Why
about
are you
that.
making them sound dumb?
Because it would be dumb to say that about me right now after I've already made the disclaimer that that's not what I'm talking about,
Oh, right. Yeah.
right? Because they heard the disclaimer, so
Yeah.
if they were to say it, they'd be dumb.
Well, you're calling. Okay, you're calling. You know who you're calling dumb.
Yeah, I'm calling people who don't listen to the podcast dumb.
Jeez.
Anyway,
Okay,
so
yeah.
People.
I thought it was great.
Anyways.
I thought it was great and really highlighted like the true depravity of the situation is the fact that these are all responsible adults making choices, making trades. And like these are people it's such a substantially different thing. It's for Rooney, right? She acknowledges I am low, right? She has said, right? She's made the deal with the devil, right? Saying, look, you know, I'll have sex with you. I'll trade my body for the lifestyle, for the freedom I desire, right? She always talks about, I want to be free like you, right? I want to be free, I want to be free, I want to be free. And this is honestly not too far from like the self-conceived desires of myself or people like us or whatever, where it's like, well, you know, my financial goals, I want to have financial freedom, right? I want to, you know, I want to work hard so I can get that freedom so I can do the things I want to do, whatever, right? You want to create this hyperbolic time chamber where you can then just focus on the things most important to your life, you know, your art, relationships, things like this, right? And you know, the like material world these characters inhabit is extremely superficial and is super cheap because, right, you just bought it. They showed up, they got a new house in Mexico, they got this place, you're in a different setting, right? None of the places really matter, right? It's just this chamber for these other things to take place in, right? And in some sense, you're kind of like, well, I kind of wish I had that, you know, so I can focus on my wife, you know, my children, whatever. So, anyway, just I like the way it's so hellish, and so much of that has to do with the fact that like you never feel as the viewer that the characters aren't responsible for the choices they make, and for like the road they want to take, and the life they want, and what they're willing to like give up, you know, to get it. And I think Natalie Portman is like the more extreme example because like we see in that very brief moment what life she's leaving behind, right? Like you have this sense like these people are leaving behind the ordinary life to chase this like radical freedom, right? And Natalie Portman is coming from like a particularly impoverished place, right? She's coming from a very difficult, impoverished setting, right? And she is instantly, right? She knows the game, right? She is instantly eager to give her body to Fassbender, right? She's a waitress. She, right, from the start, right? I suspect as the viewer that she knows who he is, you know, before they even start talking, right? So there's a level of desperation to Natalie's character that isn't present in Rooney, right? I mean, they both make a similar choice, but Rooney, we see her home life, we see where she comes from. It's not bad, right? Natalie's coming from a bad place. Are we on board with this?
I mean, bad place financially, yes.
Like
I mean,
they're struggling, right? She comes from a substantially struggling household, whereas Rooney comes from a stable household.
Yeah.
Anyway, and Natalie's desperation is more on display, right? Rooney's already hanging out at South by Southwest. She's already sort of, you know, in the groove, rolling with it, and then she makes a deal with the devil, right? Natalie is a waitress, right, in LA, making nothing, and just throws herself at Fassbender, right? Anyway, so I think her climb is more stratospheric and from different ends of the spectrum, right? Like, she just doesn't have secret sex with Fassbender and then, like, get some little record label, right? She, like, marries him, right? And sort of becomes his little mind goop slave. Anyway.
Yeah.
But I just want to draw attention to the fact that all the characters are making choices.
She takes shrooms.
Dude, the shroom scene I
yeah.
found to be so intense and so good. I liked it a lot.
Liked it a lot.
He was like it a lot. Fassbender included. Like Fassbender isn't just this demonic,
right.
monolith, right? Like he is also coming to grips with what he's doing, especially when he kills Natalie.
He says he's tired of all this monstering.
Yeah,
I thought that was a cool line.
Yeah, but I think I forget what he says a line where it's very much like Fassbender versus God.
Wait, when he kills Natalie?
No, he says that
he kills Natalie. Not physically, but he's obvious. Like he,
he's like
it's not lost on him in any sense that he's responsible for her death.
Okay.
And
that's
anyway, just
yeah, he shot her in the heart.
Yeah, when he shot her in the face. Remember that scene where he put the shotgun right to the side of her head? He said, "Hey, Natalie," and she turns into it.
He put her skull under a drill press, and then
you don't remember that?
On her temple,
and then the blood went on the lens.
I really thought that I had watched.
Wait, you had your 3D glasses
for
on,
a second, because I imagined that there was something implied that he like actually physically like killed her, and I was like, when did that happen? But
I think he obviously did.
The tragedy, and this is where it's different than the Me Too, is Natalie kills herself. Okay, Natalie kills herself.
Natalie kills herself.
In this movie.
In this movie. Anyway, so Natalie kills herself. likely, right, or overdoses or something. Anyway, Fassbender's clearly responsible, and he's clearly struggling with the fact that he's responsible, and like he has this self-awareness. But I wish I could pinpoint more specific lines because there's so many, right? There's so many like crystallizing moments where they say these lines that are just so on the nose and right, the classic cliche, but it rings true. And anyway, like Fassbender's this man against God and all this stuff. And anyway, I just liked how well it maneuvered that like the sexual marketplace.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What are you giggling at, huh?
No, I don't know. I was just giggling. I don't know why. I was
Stupid
just,
fuck.
It was left over. But this was something. This was something that I did want to. Yeah, I wanted to say the same thing. Basically,
I already said it, so.
All right, I'll just.
No. Say it. I'm sorry.
No, so I wanted to say that I appreciated I thought it was such a strong and unlikely take, not necessarily a take, but just like a story, like for Malick to create a situation as like politically relevant as that in his own narrative, but to do it not necessarily to make a point, but then it ends up having some kind of point with the with especially like Natalie Portman's character when she's like talking about how she's like a sinner and stuff, like in her view.
Yeah, she's a prostitute. She likens herself to the other prostitutes.
Oh, dude, the scene with the prostitute's so good.
What I'm selling these guys is a daydream, and it feels so real because like so much of like the Fassbender sequence and all this stuff just feels like daydreaming.
Yeah, dude, and then everything she says is so sad and so good. But but I don't know. I was impressed with how extreme of a like by having her be like implicated or feeling as though she is and being like guilty for her own undoing or whatever and submitting to this lifestyle. I don't know. I was just kind of taken aback that he would like make a film that says that. I just thought it was or is that way. I just thought it was I don't know. He's got like balls to do it.
I mean, the messaging is clear, I think, too. I mean, it's like, don't do it. It's not worth it.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, the classic Malick take and the one we get here, and this is always his thing, because Terrence would have us all just become fucking lima beans in the ground or something. Like, he thinks that, like, plants have it good and, like, we could just all return to Earth. Classic, I don't know. He's always pushing
I think Terry said that.
He's always pushing some weird, like, kombucha narrative and stuff.
Narrative.
And, like, some strange sort of, like, return to return to nature, return to the soil. He has these like weird fertilizers he's always pushing at the end of his movies. I don't know. It's just kind of typical stuff.
No, he unironically does have this whole thing of like return to the
granola,
like they do in the end of the movie. Just return
granola,
right? Return to what you thought you knew and like actually commit to it or something. Commit to granola.
Dude.
Return to granola. Go back to Whole Foods.
Become a bean.
Go back to
Whole
Foods.
Become a lima bean.
Do a U-turn and return to Whole Foods. Get off of the freeway.
It is definitely brave. I think he did a good job of saying, look, because even I mean, like, am I cringe for saying like it's obviously a compelling offer, like, have sex with someone you don't want to have sex with, and become a gazillionaire.
Yeah. Well, no, the thing that's crazy, though, is that he allows them out. He gaslights them into thinking they can get out. That's why it's not just that's why it's not the typical Me Too thing, although it is in a way the Me Too thing. But, like, this whole, like, you can leave. I bought you your mom's house, and I won't do anything to, like, keep you with me.
Does he say that?
Get out.
Yeah, he buys it. Yeah, and there's a whole scene.
He says, I bought you your house. He says something like, I won't take back any of the things I gave to you. You can leave whenever you want. And then she still decides to marry him. So Natalie is like gaslighted into like falling in love, something going on.
Yeah, that's weird.
Giving herself into him,
She seems at all times less aware of all the situations and dynamics at play than Rooney. She
Yeah,
feels just much
she-
more innocent and tarnished so fast.
I don't think so. I don't know.
That's
I think
just
she's
my-
pretty aware.
that's my
I think
sentiment.
she's like super. I think I don't really know. That's why I'm left a little uncompelled by how she falls in love with him and like stays with him. I think maybe the only answer would be she, I guess, really likes the lifestyle, the sinning lifestyle, you know, of like as in that brings a lot of enjoyment to her, the shrooms and things like that. So that there's not just that, but like that whole vibe of like being in the area. Because I don't really get why she doesn't bail out. Because she really could, but no, she falls from, marries him. I guess it's all, but
so weird.
it's never very well explained, you know.
Yeah, it is so weird. It doesn't really make sense because she, to me, seems profoundly unhappy. Although, right, you might
Yeah.
just say, well, she doesn't know. She can't identify why she's unhappy, right? She's got the life she thought she wanted, all this stuff. But
Well, she struck me in general as being more like less intelligent, or like she seems simple in
Yeah,
a lot of ways.
She is simple.
simpler,
That's
more
true.
innocent,
think-
naive.
And I think that her, like the way in which she's swayed by him in the diner, you know, and is like all charmed by his flirting and stuff, I felt was characteristic of that, and made the marrying and such more believable, because it's like she's unhappy, but I mean it's more like kind of classic abusive relationship like type thing, is like, at least in her position where she's like sad and unhappy, but there's a charm and something about him or whatever that she like is returning to constantly. So I think that that is going on at the same time as her life being made better or whatever, and wanting the cheap lifestyle too. I mean, I don't know. So because Troy, I'm not saying that this is how you were framing it exactly, but I'm saying from the way that you said it, it sounded as if she was totally just instrumentalizing herself for the cheap life or something like that, or to get out of her position. And I feel like there was definitely, it was set up pretty clearly, at least in my mind, that she was charmed by him and she did like him and was interested in him outside of just getting out of her whatever local
No, yeah,
hell.
she wants it as well as wants to get out. I guess my point about the disparity in like background is like, right, there's just the classic, right, I think Malick wants to talk about responsibility, or, you know, wants the characters to be responsible, and even pushes it a little bit by showing someone in a more dire situation, right, a classic situation where someone would say, well, is it really,
where she
is it really
seems less responsible.
Yeah, like you say,
than-
oh, is
than
it
Rooney.
is it ethical to offer, people in extremely impoverished areas, like I'm thinking, around the world, like the worst of the, worst areas. Oh, is it ethical to offer them like $1,000 for their kidneys, right? You get kidneys for a bargain. And it's like, well, like that type of point of like, do they, the right asterisks on consent, right? And given like a various situation and power dynamics and stuff. So I was just saying, like she's thrown even more into a desperate situation, and so she definitely wants the thing, and I think that's why.
But she has God.
She is God.
She has
She
God.
has God.
She goes to church.
She's like the only religious person in the whole thing.
Interesting. Yeah.
I mean, that must be important.
Yeah, I mean, I see
don't really-
that.
Well, it seems I thought it was
to
really
her.
the only.
And
Yeah,
he
the
walks
only
out of the church,
the most
remember? She
naive
walks out of
the
the
most
church.
naive character goes
Yeah,
to
she's
church.
the most simple one.
Yeah,
so
I
of
can't
course she
figure it
believes
out.
in God and goes to church.
There could be something to that.
I mean, no, I think
I
I do think that there is.
character.
No,
Like religion,
yeah.
kind of in that sense. Like if you're raised in a religious household or something like that, there is some sort of predisposition to a naivety about life or something, or like. She's not naive though. She fucking knows like how awful the things she's doing are. And her religious background actually gives her knowledge of that. She says she's a sinner. Like she knows
Yeah.
how insane being with Michael Fassbender is. I don't think she's just like a fool. And she could have gotten out at any time. I really still think that she
wanted
was, but wanted what?
Well, I think
I don't know. I think this thing,
I think that okay, we keep talking about the the life he's giving her, like with the drugs and the money and all these
I think
things,
she liked,
as being
she liked
separate
Michael.
from it's something that he's giving her, and then there's also this thing going on where about him and him as like isolated from these things or something that she's attracted
Well,
to.
she takes him to church.
Yeah.
Remember? And he walks out. I think there is some sort of like love for him and like a
Yeah,
desiring
yeah.
a redemption of him.
Yeah,
you know?
that's what I'm talking about, like the kind of classic
Sorry.
abusive relationship type
Yeah, taken care of. Yeah.
like frame. It's like I'm gonna take him to church. I'm gonna show him
Yeah.
what I think is good. I'm gonna quote unquote fix him or something, even though that's might necessarily be exactly what's on display here. But I think that. But the other thing I was gonna say is that I think that what she wants seems to be some kind of like the separation between the life that he's giving her and the house that he's buying her mom and these things, and him. Like, I don't know, it's not like they're part of one and the same thing, and it's like it's kind of like, I don't know, I got the impression that she couldn't discern where like the bad thing ended and the good thing started or something like that, with like what he's offering her and
Yeah.
what
And I think
he
that's ultimately
is.
I think you're totally right. I think ultimately though, she's not just doing this like a prostitute, although she likens herself to it by the end of it all.
Yeah.
She actually like fell in love to some degree with Michael Fassbender.
I don't know.
No,
I don't think
I
she-
totally
I
think
think
that.
her-
I think
I
that's
think-
why she marries him instead of bailing out.
I think
That's the thing.
I think your decision to stay is extremely noteworthy. But I
think it's
I
like
don't
a
know. You've
gaslit
seen it-
love.
you've
It's
seen
like a
it-
gaslit love, a Stockholm syndrome love. Like it is like a love, but clearly it's a distorted love. But it is. I think it is a love.
I just think there's like little to go off of. Like I feel like we almost never see them together in a positive context.
Well, yeah, but
So I'm
it's
saying I think we can
yeah.
guess. I'm just saying it's not
Well, I
like
don't think-
you know
I
we
don't
don't
think
get to
she's-
look at them like the
well,
way we do
no,
Bruni and Gosling.
No, I agree with that. I think that to posit though that she's only there because she's simple and selling herself for the lifestyle is a projection onto it. I don't think that's really what the story tells.
Well, no, I think it starts off that way. I don't think it ends that way.
I don't.
Yeah.
No. I think
don't
she's
know.
charmed
I think
by
she
him.
likes
She's totally
Michael.
charmed.
Yeah,
she
No,
likes
not in the
him.
beginning.
Yes, she
100% in the
is.
diner.
No,
I
she's
she
not,
was.
dude. She's
Yes, she
playing him.
is.
She thinks she's on clever, and she's gonna be like a powerful woman and wield her
this
body.
is crazy,
No,
dude.
don't
I
think so.
did not get that
I think
impression at all. I
she's
thought
falling
that
in love with him because she's
the-
down on her
dude,
luck. And
my-
she's falling in love with him.
yeah,
No,
my
she
immediate
left
impression,
her hometown, went to LA to chase the classic dream.
dude.
Sees
My-
a super, does the whole thing.
No. I think initially in the diner, my impression was, oh my gosh, this poor girl. She's charmed by this guy who's
By
gonna
the snake.
destroy
snake.
her life. And then
Yeah.
I think she becomes aware of the life and is like, wow, look at this. And then it's like, no, this whole idea that
Dude,
she
you don't
might have
leave-
known
you don't
who he
leave,
is.
You don't leave Poopville, USA, all super poor and everything. Dude, you got a young, beautiful woman, leaves her hometown, goes to Hollywood, and works as a waitress. Like, that is the story of someone chasing the dream. They're chasing the freedom. They're trying to make
No,
it,
but-
this is
but-
it's the whole
But
thing.
Chasing the dream is not the
you
same
are
as
projecting.
pouring yourself out.
No, but
You can- you
but
can-
you're
you can
acting like
maintain
she
both
just
of them.
happened to be there. I'm saying she wants that. She wants it. And
Well, maybe
and-
she
No,
does.
but
Maybe
I
she
think
does.
she's genuinely charmed by him, and that's why she marries him.
Yeah, and no, look, maybe she does want that. Maybe she's there and she's chasing the dream or something. But this is the thing. Either way, she is charmed by him, and it's like, I don't know. Powerful man comes in and is charming. Why is he attractive? We're still drawing a distinction between like the thing that she wants as being like what he has and what he is, and I don't think that it's like that way at all. It's like he's powerful and has money, and she's attracted to him because he's charming and he's powerful and has money.
Yeah,
and she
yeah,
gets both of those things. And
Yeah,
I
I'm not
don't think
saying
I don't
she's
think
not
she's
attracted
I
to
don't
him.
think I don't think she's ladder climbing. I don't think she's ladder climbing in the way that you're saying it is.
No, I'm saying it's. I suspect it's both. My impression of it at the time was that she was doing both. I'm not saying she doesn't like him and she isn't charmed by him. I suspect she is. I'm saying she also, has a clear interest in ladder climbing. I don't think she's purely instrumentalizing him. I think it's a mix. I'm arguing for the presence of something,
Okay,
not the
yeah.
non-presence of another.
Okay, that's fine. I don't know, maybe I have to watch the movie again. I did not like through watching it this time, I never got the impression that she was ladder climbing in any way.
I totally thought that it was just a by chance miracle
Yeah.
that her mom in her house and this whole thing, and she's just like in this insane lucky situation to have been with Michael, but clearly it's this tainted
And
luck.
it's like I felt as though her wanting to stay in it was more so like he's doing all these things for me, like, and feeling guilty for wanting to leave or something like that, which is
Right.
that's like a classic thing,
Right.
like with just like buying your loved one a bunch of things and then like
Right.
holding that over them or something like that, which is what he does like in one of his little monologues, like he implies that. So I don't know, I never got the impression that she was wanting more material things for some kind of like more like gratifying reason, or wanting the cheap life in any sense.
I don't think that we are filling in many blanks, as it was previously said, but like but no one refuted. I'm gonna push back on that a little bit. Like, I don't think we're filling in many gaps to say that she's having this sort of like Stockholm syndrome like love affair with him, slash abusive relationship love, slash gaslit love. Like, it's clearly a strong love, but also predicated on this like toxic love structure.
I don't get why it's so clearly. Why is it clearly a strong love? Like, where do we see
the emotion we see when she's being charmed and how she's torn about leaving him, chooses not to leave him. Like, she has some good moments with him. She has the sex with him. She tries taking him to church.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's like these moments with him. I don't know.
Yeah, but no, I agree. There's moments with him, but I don't agree with.
That's
like,
all the moments
No,
point towards some sort of emotional relevance beyond a use of him. She's using him.
No, I agree.
And so that
I'm not
would
saying she
that
doesn't
would tell.
love him. I'm not saying she
So
doesn't
the
love
way
him,
in
but
which she
you're
would love
describing
him
it
would
as
be
if it's
this.
like we get to see this thing on display. I think
No, we do.
it can be more
She's like
confusing
the
than
way.
that.
No, we absolutely see this thing on display in the form of like when she's doing this monologue or this narration about him buying her the house, and she's looking extremely somber when they're being married, but also she like this is like her acting, and we totally feel like some sort of like, wow, she's been like guilted into marrying him and like loves him kind of, but like because they do like kiss and it seems like a passionate kiss, but the whole time she has this like somber face. Like, I don't think I'm filling in many gaps. I think all of the scenes, including her being charmed by him initially, like if you arrive at the conclusion that if the presupposition is that she is ladder climbing, or you assign more weight to that than I do, like everything is painted differently. But if you assign a weight where she's like, she genuinely falls in love with him and he so happens to offer this stuff for her, but he's also got all his baggage, then you end up at this conclusion where she has this very tragic love affair with him. And it's like, I think that's not like, I don't think that's like filling in gaps.
No, I think you are more right. I'm not saying that the ultimate frame is ladder climbing. I think the ultimate frame is much more what you're saying. I'm just pushing back on like the degree of like, I don't know. I just felt like the statement about, she's, they clearly have a very, like, she's clearly like strongly in love with him, I think is like a little too much in description, but
it's like a toxic love. I mean, she takes him to church and stuff, and like she stays with him after the house and all that. I'm saying that it's not like this super good love. I'm saying that it must be a problematic.
It is
love
something.
form.
Yeah, it is something emotional and relationship oriented, and not ladder climbing.
No, yeah, and it's also this. It's like this taking care of attitude where she thinks maybe I can even fix him. Maybe he's got his problems, but maybe I can even fix him.
I might just not be able to recall various dialogue, but the only thing I see in favor of that is taking him to church, which like
I think that's powerful. We only get like 5 scenes of them together, like 5 major scenes.
Fair. Poor Natalie.
Yeah.
I like that the thing being held at least fine, especially over Rooney's head, is this like right, like this constant debasing of herself as, in her own eyes, is like in pursuit of something she wants. Like what she wants is what has imprisoned her, and like what has, like she continually just places all the valuable good things of life lower than the things she wants, and thus it's worth the trade, right? And just the fact that like Fassbender is not necessarily like the locus of control when it comes to her predicament. It's herself and like this desire to live this a certain life. And I don't think it's just like a super rich life. It's like, right, she wants to be an artist, right? She wants to like reach escape velocity and then, you know, take control of her life and stuff like this.
I want to focus. I mean, I agree with that. I want to talk about the fact that it's a lesbian relationship, because I don't think it just so happens to be lesbian. I think that's an intentional thing, and
For
it's
sure.
meant to have a symbolic power to it.
For sure.
And at first, I was like nervous to talk about for obvious reasons, but I really think that like there is, you know, so you know, if you in what's it called, Scott Pilgrim versus the World, you know, Ramona has like one lesbian ex. It's a lesbian phase. Of course, you know, people can be bisexual and all that, and there are of course obviously lesbian people and everything like that, you know. But clearly, I think while we don't know, I think it's fair to assume as the viewer that this is some sort of a phase for her and not who she is type of thing. In the way that like lots of movies depict a lesbian phase of a woman. That doesn't mean that like, you know, whatever, all the obvious things, you know, that doesn't mean they don't exist, doesn't mean you can't be lesbian, whatever. But and so in that sense, you know, yeah, I don't know what else is there to say about it. Like
Yeah.
like just this very, again, it's like this kind of embracing of a cliche. It is a cliche to have like a lesbian phase, I think. Like you're in this falling out, you just had this boy toy that was treating you all good, and there's this weird thing going on, and then you end up with, you know, you end up in a phase where you're, you know, with a woman.
Scott Pilgrim example is great.
Yeah, but yeah, and of course there's many more examples, right?
Yeah,
And like,
yeah.
but in the Scott Pilgrim one, the whole point of Scott Pilgrim is that it's a trope, right? It's still, we all
Yeah.
laugh because you know, it's funny because girls do this, right?
quirky
girl
Ramona,
does this,
right.
right, and
I-
that is the case, right?
I don't know. To me, I don't think. I mean, I think there's probably something to the fact that it's lesbian. It's obviously not a coincidence, right? I don't have any good ideas for it. At the time, it struck me more as a further debasement, not that it's lesbian, but the fact that Rooney, in Rooney's world, or from Rooney's perspective, right, her mission is to ladder climb, and this woman happens to be lesbian. Oh, I guess I'm a lesbian now too. Like
Yeah.
she, like there's no, like the limit of what she's willing to do has been pushed further, right?
Right.
It's like,
Right.
oh, well, I'll trade sex. Your sexuality? Oh yeah, sure, I'll trade that too. Right?
Yeah.
It's just a further, right? It's one step further. Not only is she trading sex, she's trading her
Yeah.
sexuality, she's trading her preferences, she's like totally
Right.
depersonalizing herself,
Right,
so as to continue with the mission.
right, and that's why it doesn't.
But I think
feel
there's
like,
something to the lesbian aspect as well.
Yeah, I think you're right. What you're saying about this whole debasement thing. That's why it doesn't feel like it's like, oh, she naturally found another partner and it happens to be a woman,
Yeah.
and so we can see this true bisexuality to Rooney. No, instead it's like this weird power dynamic emerged where she's taking care of her house, and so ends up in a lesbian affair. You know,
Yeah.
like it's not. It doesn't feel like she chose to pursue a woman. Or anything.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, so it does frame it as a debasement sort of thing of herself. Like, it just feels like she's not being true to herself type of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like while they're literally having lesbian sex, she's like, right, talking to Gosling and how much, right, oh my
Yeah.
gosh, I miss you so much. Like it's never been more apparent than now.
Yeah.
You know, right? And it seems to me that that she's not into the lesbian aspect of
Right.
the whole thing.
Right.
But they overcome.
But they
overcome.
But what do? Yeah, but I think I just love that they, you know, in the end, what they overcome is like their own naive conceptions of like what they want, and like they submit themselves to like you know, return to tradition.
Could I was actually going to make a point earlier when we first brought up that whole thing that Malick does, or whatever, like returning to some thing that you already knew but you
Yeah.
didn't commit to or something like that. I loved when Rooney goes and visits her family and sees her sister, and you get the shots of the kids. I love them like running around the forest and stuff. I started getting like just teary-eyed in that exact moment, it like the whole like what's actually going on, as is Rooney seeing that and realizing she wants it, or that she's feeling as though she's missed out on it or something, and all this like guilt and stuff, which becomes apparent right after when she's talking with her dad. Yeah.
You guys knew, or you made a better choice. Right?
Yeah, and I think that in that very moment, it was like I didn't really fully get that. I don't know what the right term would be, but that image going on and like its purpose in the larger narrative. Like when she's first visiting them, it was just kind of like a lot of just high emotions, and then all of a sudden you get these shots of these kids, and then immediately followed by the gas station, and then the talking with her dad, and then saying that, like, just kind of expressing her guilt in these things that she chose the wrong life. I don't know. I thought that was, I mean, I don't know. Everything in the end of the movie is so good, but that really got me good. I just thought that was amazing.
I remember their deliberation about like, especially Rooney. I think Rooney's the one that it's her narration. She says something like, what if I'm not an artist, or something like that, or like, what if I don't end up being an artist? She says something very like, identifactory oriented. Like where she's questioning like whether she even knows her own identity. It's not like, what if I don't make it? What if I'm not famous?
Yeah.
What if I'm not rich? It's like, it's what if I like don't end up being an artist? It's like she went to LA before she even felt like she was an artist, type of thing. Like felt like that was her calling, her true calling, type of thing. And maybe that like led to some sort of aimlessness. I mean, she was so young. How can you know if you want to be an artist when you're like 16? But I mean, I guess maybe you can. But I like, the point being, while I love the ending and I find it like good and certainly not a bad message, like I don't think that it's like something everyone has to emulate. Like I think that there could be a case where like, an artist is an artist, obviously, and like they end up having a totally different narrative arc where they're like pursuing art, but none of the characters seem like they actually care about their fucking music much. Like they seem like they're just pursuing each other / fame / selling. Like it doesn't seem like any of them are like talking about like how awesome it is to create and stuff like that, except for the old woman, the old wise sage woman who's talking about guitars and stuff, and she's like, you play one chord, and she seems like she really embodies the artist, whether she's successful or not, it doesn't even matter. Like it feels like she's the artist. So what I mean to say is, it seems like Ryan Gosling and Rooney both come to this understanding that like, well, they're not really artists, and maybe that's okay, and they can live this great life, and they discover something about their identities, but it seems like they're not pursuing, like it was never about that,
Yeah.
It seemed like for them it was this other thing that it was about.
No, I agree. It seems almost never to actually be about art itself, except for that lady. It unironically probably is a Malick self-insert. I mean, the person is like unsuccessful, but is able to maintain a shop of some sort, and like just seems, kind of disheveled and unclear and unappealing in every sense to the people.
Yeah, but pure.
Yeah, but very authentic.
Yeah, authentic.
Yeah.
I want to point something out. So I don't know if you guys keep using LA as like the idea of LA, but this takes place in Austin, Texas.
A lot of it, yeah. No, a lot of it, I think it's like, a lot of it.
I mean, I didn't know that.
I knew it takes place in Austin, Texas because it's a South by Southwest Austin, Texas, but it's LA.
I didn't even know it was South by Southwest. I thought it was just some crazy big outdoor concert.
No, you see it says South by Southwest.
Yeah, I was unclear on that as well until you.
I mean, that's crazy, but I mean that makes Natalie Portman's accent. She has like a slight Southern accent at one point when she's getting introduced. I don't know if it carries over throughout the whole thing. Maybe it does.
I think,
but
it does.
This like slight twang, I guess, makes a little more sense. Thanks for pointing that out. Although it is LA, obviously.
Yeah.
It's
okay.
obviously
Yeah,
LA,
all right.
I've just never been there, idiot.
I've
No,
been
you're
to
right.
LA. I've never
You haven't
lived in
lived in
LA.
the city, baby.
I never
It makes
want
sense
to
though,
live in
because
LA.
maybe this makes sense because I was, they're just going to so many different awesome houses, and it's like, of course, LA has houses and stuff, but
Yeah.
like, it's hard to get a big, even like
Yeah.
expensive, awesome houses in LA. They're like not that big. You normally, they're like kind of big,
Yeah.
but they're not like fucking epic huge. 'Cause
Yeah.
it's just there's no space. But I guess it makes more sense maybe in Texas where you have like near these skyscrapers, you have these like a fucking castle. Like they're going out to this town, and then Kate Blanchett's character is almost living in like this weird castle-like house. Yeah, I don't know.
I
I
thought I just want to say I like the fact that you basically never know where they are because it seems very characteristic of the Giga Rich. That it doesn't matter where you are. It doesn't matter like you're yeah. I like that sense of it's like everywhere.
yeah, and
Right?
yeah,
You're here, now you're there, now you're in some
And-
other place. It doesn't really matter where you are. Oh, you're in Mexico, whatever, that's kind of fun. But like it's just amorphous and wherever you want to be and
Yeah.
just there are no limits. No, I mean the film is originally called Lawless, just so you know.
yeah. I think that
Way worse.
that is being like
I like it. It's not as good as Song to Song, but it definitely
Sorry.
is very characteristic. Sorry, John.
I think that yeah, that definitely seems like serves the purpose of just like what it would be like to have that much money and like showing that. But at the same time, another thing that struck me was that I mean, still a lot of the locations, even when they're not in some rich building or whatever, some expensive building, like the locations were chosen because of the way that they look, whether they serve like thematically or just visually look interesting and good and like right or whatever, which and then they're unexplained, which I think that earlier when we were talking about this whole realism thing, there is this realism going on, but then there's also this kind of like anti like realism going on where it's like you just have these disconnected just kind of stages where these scenes are taking place that were chosen for aesthetic and thematic reasons, disconnected from any kind of continuity, which is something that we mentioned earlier, just that the complete ignoring of continuity and needing to ground it in some kind of logically consistent sphere. And like yeah, and I don't know, I like it, made it so it kind of universalizes the story in some way, or like puts it like above being like some specific material story that you like read about literally happening or something, like it makes it so it's bigger.
Totally feels like 2666 in one sense, and only in the sense that whenever they're moving around and going from place to place, it might even list where they're going, literally by name. And yet it feels like you're constantly in this weird parallel universe where everything is everything. Like every location is somehow like just this weird, the world.
Microcosm.
Like the world is the setting. Yeah. Like the world is the setting or something like that. Or like life is the setting.
Yeah.
Even though you know where all these settings are or something like that. So in line with the wandering thing, yeah, that I agree with that.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's the experience of the characters. Like imagine like your childhood house, or like just sort of a house that matters that you maybe have worked on, or you worked really hard to buy it and you got your house and stuff like this. Like that house feels and looks like and is representative of like your life arc, and like it makes sense within this context. And then for these people, right, it's just acquired, some are new, and it's it's basically disconnected from any like there's no connection between themselves and the location.
Yeah,
it's just,
but even
I'm here now.
But even then, though, there is one particular time when, like, so I think that is totally thematically relevant, and I think is correct. But I think that also, like, when there's a place when Ryan Gosling and Rooney, they're just in some building, and the windows are like have like butcher paper over them, And during the scene, it just occurred to me, like, where the hell are we? Like, this is not a nice place, because it's post access to money all the time. And so it's like, I think that even though, while it does serve this, like, the purpose of kind of showing what it's like to be able to just, like, acquire anything at any time, and having it be just like the setting is just changing, and it's not like you're never grounded to anything, like, materially like geographically or something like that. But I think that it's also a deeper, more like fundamental thing that Malick is doing, like, conceptually, just by choosing locations completely disconnected from some kind of continuous, consistent geography or something like that. That, like, yeah. And so I think that both are happening.
And it's putting you in a symbolic space. Like,
Yes.
the setting.
Yes.
So, like,
exactly.
the butcher paper thing, it's like, this couldn't exist, but it doesn't really. You don't necessarily raise your eyebrow at it, and somehow it's able to maintain the consistency of the symbols, if it's not maintaining, like, some logical consistency about location, right?
Totally.
Like, there's some other.
Yeah,
thing,
it's just like giving primacy to the kind of emotional and symbolic narrative, as opposed to like the material and continuous, like, continuity or whatever.
All right, Troy.
I think you're so true.
Troy's giving us this insane wrap this MF.
No.
Yeah,
outing me.
It looked intense.
I stumbled
on
what
what I was
trying
saying.
to say.
I stumbled on what I was
No,
saying
that's
because
understandable.
Listen,
Look,
obviously
the random crappy
we could
digital cameras every once in a while were so epic and good, and we didn't talk about it.
Obviously, we could talk about this movie for another 100 hours. Okay.
Yeah.
I always feel bad. I feel like we gotta watch these movies a couple times.
Nah,
Coming
fuck
soon.
that
No,
shit.
we're doing
Fuck
fine.
that
All right,
shit.
I have an announcement for
Who
the
the fuck rewatches?
cinematographical audience. Stay tuned for after final thoughts, and there's a big announcement coming. So, anyway,
So
closing statement.
Dude,
scores.
it's gonna be that's your final announcement?
It's gonna be awesome.
Oh my god. Alright.
Should I go?
John, you wanna do
you wanna hand
it off?
Yeah, do
Yeah.
the honors.
All right, so final thoughts. Guys, I recently have been really not enthusiastic about giving anything scores, even
Oh my
like
God, don't do this.
even as for funsies. Like, I think it's wrong and bad, and while watching the film, it occurred to me that I had to come up with a score, and it tainted the film for a moment before I decided, no, it doesn't matter. That being said, it's a 3 and a 3.6.
Okay. Thank you for redeeming it.
I know.
That's
I still
awesome.
think scores are cringe and bad. I like this film. It was great. I want to watch it again. My favorite Malick film that I've seen thus far. I think it does a lot of things that other movies I haven't seen done quite the way that Malick did them, and it moved me. And I felt that the quote unquote message was true.
And
Yeah, I thought it was good. Great characters, good acting.
True and debased.
Good.
Awesome to hear. I'll tell you what, I'm gonna give this movie a friggin' insane score. My score is going to be 4.4.
Wow.
There you
That
go.
is a heavy hitting score.
I really like this movie. Yeah, I really, really liked it. I don't need to say shit about it
Okay.
because
scores don't matter, and I hate
because
scores. And
scores
scores
are
are stupid. And
No, he doesn't need to say
because-
anything other than the score, because scores are a complete form of communication, and everything he needs to say is just what's said.
Oh,
no, it's because the script ends at 4.4, and I don't know what else to say.
Oh, I didn't give you the last page?
The paper I've been reading off of just ended. So
Okay. First to respond to John, come on, man. Obviously, scores are an incomplete form of communication, to say the least. But you got to do what you got to do in this world.
No, you don't though. You really just don't
No,
have
you
to
do.
give things
You
scores.
do. You do. You have to. It's
You can
against the
think
rules.
films are the best films you've seen without like ranking, like finding them a
Listen.
place. You can just know that you've
Listen.
watched it and know that it
Listen.
was good.
Obviously, the difference between your experience of the film and a single decimal point floating number, obviously that distance is getting to you. But don't let it. Just you can do this.
I don't even
That
know
being
what you just
said-
said. Okay.
That being said,
Troy, your mic cut out. Just kidding.
okay.
Yeah, we can't hear you right now.
That being said,
You hear him?
I'm not gonna withhold. I'm struggling. When I watched it the other day, I gave it a 3.9, and to me, it's so close to being a 4. And I think it belongs. I think it's a must watch. It is,
Whoa.
given it's probably my favorite Malick film. I feel
Yeah.
okay saying that.
Yeah.
It's now a 4, so I'm gonna give it a 4.0 flat.
Like,
Yeah,
it's,
the best Malick is a crazy thing. I totally agree.
Yeah.
it's just when you got people saying, look, I think it belongs in, and you're talking about the difference of
Mm-hmm.
0.1,
Mm-hmm.
and then
Well, it's
I
because
just
4
like
represents a must
compulsively-
watch.
I know, but it's like I just
Listen.
compulsively gave it a 3.7,
Yeah.
and as soon as I gave
Yeah.
it a score, then all of a sudden I'm like, wait, no, it's probably higher than that.
Dude, of course,
I just think scores are
it
wrong.
It deserves the world. Imagine you're a father who killed his own son, but got away with it.
I've killed my boy.
You got away with it, and let's just assume you've totally atoned for your sins.
Okay, based, cool.
You gotta live your life. You can't be thinking all the time about the fact that you killed your son. You have to move on. You can't be thinking about the
You can
difference
just
between
not kill your son.
Wait, why did I have
You
to kill
just-
my son in the first place?
because you had to. It's the rules.
No, I didn't.
Listen,
wait, did
you
God
can't
ask
you
me?
can't
Are we
let
talking-
you can't let the fact that there's a ineffable distance between the number 3.6 and what this film is.
Yeah.
You can't let that distance get to you. Okay, you got to stay strong. You need to be like a tyrant.
No, scores are dumb.
So cringe.
The distance is enough that it's like I don't understand what I'm even like
Yeah.
there, like I never understand what I'm actually giving a score to. Like I never,
Exactly.
and it's so far that it's like the score becomes meaningless immediately.
Yeah.
And if I ever consider it not meaningless, so why give a score?
No. The scores are meaningless. 100%. We all know it. That's why it's okay. What? No, the scores are meaningful only insofar as they are like an invented metric within a meaningless system.
No, Troy, you care.
well, what
about-
does it
your
even-
scores mean something. Your scores mean something.
Yeah,
Your
no,
scores-
no.
your
They only
scores
no.
mean
They
something.
only mean something. They only mean something with respect to the other scores I've given.
And that's what I'm saying is that putting
Yeah,
them
yeah.
in any kind of a closed
Yeah.
system of what the other scores are and stuff is
Yeah.
is meaningless. It is pointless.
I think it's fair to say that saying that I think Sacrifice is a 5 out of 5 doesn't really communicate much, but I think saying Sacrifice is a 5 and 500 Days of Summer is a 2, I think it just tells you. I think the relational thing there is worthwhile.
I agree that.
By the way, 500 Days of Summer is like a 1.
I agree that that on the extreme parts of the scale, like if I say a movie's a 5, I can confidently say this movie's a 5. I'm comfortable doing that. I'm comfortable saying this movie's just bad. Like it's like a 1.5. Like that's
Yeah.
easy. Once
You
you
just
get
don't like
into
3.9 to 4?
Yeah, once you get anything in between, like once you get into films that are good and I enjoyed and I'm glad I watched and they have a place, like I feel as though they have a place like in my just appreciation, whatever, then it's like, All right, so now where does this fit with all the other good movies? Which one's a little bit better than this one, or which one's a little bit worse than this one? It's like it becomes meaningless as soon as you enter the actual important part of the scale that isn't just a good movie, bad movie dichotomy.
That's why stars are based, and you could just do up to 3 stars. You don't need all these decimals bullshit. So if it's anywhere along that good movie metric, anywhere within that, you just give it a 3.
I think it's a totally fair point. I think with respect to like all film or something, right? Like pretty much everything we've watched is like a 5 out of 5, right? I'm trying to like the only mission in my mind is to distinguish between from the creme de creme. Let's drill down on this and like where do things fall? Whatever, just have fun with it. I mean, look, we're not going to stop giving scores. That's just a fact of the matter. So cope however you want to.
I think I'd make a lot of my scores lower, the ones I gave earlier.
Mm-hmm.
And
because I came in scoring compared to what I've already scored a bunch of stuff.
I think the honing in is kind of weird. I mean, I guess it's fun. I think it's fun. I think I stand by scoring. Movie. I stand by scoring only insofar as it's fun, not insofar as anything else.
Yeah, it's fun. I think maybe a little more for me, or I think it means something a little bit more for me, but I think at minimum it's fun. But I mean, don't you think we've watched pretty much all good movies? Like, imagine if we watched an actually bad movie.
Yeah, no, I
like it wouldn't even like. Yeah, we've watched great. Like, pretty much all these movies have been really great.
But I don't really get the whole 5 out of 5. They all deserve 5 out of 5 thing.
Well, I'm just saying compared to all, like I'm saying, I feel that all the movies we've watched have been really good, and the scoring system is, like you said, all in comparison to other things we've watched and scored, which are all these really good movies. If we were actually watching bad movies, the distance is so massive. Like calling, like you gave, let's see, you gave Vertigo a 3.5, right? But I think Vertigo is like astronomically better than, an actually bad movie. Within the scope of all these great movies we're watching, I feel comfortable giving Vertigo a 3.5. That's what I gave it.
Wait, no, but I would just give those other movies like a 1.
I think the distance between, I don't know. I mean, we'd have to imagine like the scale. Yeah, I mean, we can imagine the scale as being exponential the lower you go. So like if you're a 0, you're like literally just static on the screen. But I like to think of 1 is like, well, I'm just saying the movies we've watched, I think are all generally pretty good movies, like really good movies. And like it would mess up the scales of our scores if we were to start actually watching bad movies. You could give it a 0, you give it a 1.
So you just give them like 1s and stuff. 1s and 2s.
I guess. I mean, I guess it's not like
I would give Stalker, like I would actually put Stalker maybe a little lower, and it would be in the same camp as probably like 500 Days of Summer as me.
Oh my gosh. All right.
In terms of like how good it was.
That's wild. Okay, we gotta get smaller. I gotta, on that note, I gotta go. But the exciting announcement coming soon to the cinematographologically speaking Cinemasphere Mediascope Chamber of Stuff. Chamber of Commerce.
Magistrate
is a I don't know what we're gonna call it.
The cinematographologically magistrate.
What do they have in the cinematographologically speaking parliamentary magistrate system. I don't know what it is. I don't know what we're actually going to call it, but basically like scene by scene discussion of a film. So it's going to be like bajillion hours long.
18,000 hours.
It's going to be 18 hours long. We're going to discuss every frame. At least 1 minute dedicated to every frame. Because, as the saying goes, every frame a picture. And a picture's worth 1,000 words, and so we're going to write 1,000 words per frame.
Every frame a photograph.
Every frame a photo.
Every frame.
Every dog a smile.
Every dog a smile. Every sunshine a cloud.
every song to song.
Every son a mother.
Every song a song, and I sing my song.
Every son a mother.
I sing my song for all to sing.
Every mother, not
Lawless
necessarily a son.
Title.
It's like a square and a rectangle.
Song to Song is a god tier title compared to Lawless. Lawless could be a good title, but not for this movie.
I agree. Song to Song is a better title. I was just saying Lawless is obviously a good descriptive term.
Yeah, I think that's true.
They wish to break free from the laws of God and man.
Yeah, but that's why it's cringe. It's
And
not
create
good.
for
Dude,
themselves.
there's in the cast. Oh, never mind. I figured it
There's
out.
so many people that got excluded.
In the cast.
Christian
was
Bale.
First
Christian Bale in the
Aid
beginning is
Kit.
so funny.
First Aid Kit was the name of somebody in the cast, and then I found out it was a band.
Okay. All right. I guess that's it. Till next time.
Bye.
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 Bye. Bye.
Bye.